Alright guys, I'm going to do two additional examples from worksheet number 7, question 6 and question 7. When you're going from the graph to factored form, identify 3 points first. It will be your two x-intercepts, and in this case it will be -4, 0, and the second x-intercept, -8, 0. And we identify a vertex, which is -6, -2. We'll start now with the filling out as much of the equation as we can. We don't know the a value. All we know is that the a value is positive because the graph points up. We insert our two x-intercepts. So -4, we have to put in the opposite, +4. And x plus 8. Next, you have to solve for your a value. Solve for your a value. You insert any point on the graph you know, except the x-intercepts. You never use the x-intercepts here. Easiest point that we would know would be a vertex, so we'll insert or sub in our vertex. So -6, -2. Remember, this is an x value and then y value. And we can go ahead and replace those values in our equation. So we have -2 equals a, and x is -6 plus 4. X again, replace that with -6 plus 8. -6 plus 4 is -2. -6 plus 8 is a +2. -2 times 2 is -4, so a times -4. And we isolate for a, which means we would then divide by -4 on both sides. So you get a half. Or you could write that as 0.5. So then your equation is 0.5, or you could write a half. X plus 4 times x plus 8. So then write that in standard form after. You don't always have to do this. You only write in standard form when asked, and you're asked in the worksheet to do that. So remember now this is factored form. And then standard form. So we have y equals 0.5, x plus 8. Well, I have written x plus 8, but I have written below as x plus 4. It would make a difference to the equation. I'll keep it consistent. Now, it says a shortcut for doing this, because you don't have any coefficients in front of x, like it's just 1x and 1x. So a shortcut to take is, say, x squared, when you're multiplying this. Add your last two values together. That will give you 12x plus 32. Now, if you want, you can multiply that out, and you'll still come back with this. And then to finish it, you will multiply 0.5 to everything inside. So 0.5x squared, 6x, and then 16. So this would then be in standard form. All right, that's that equation. Let's shift our attention now to number 7 here. I'll just pause the video. Okay, just readjusted the screen there, and we do the same. Here we find we don't really have any other x-intercepts other than the vertex. and the vertex here is 2, 0. So that's the only point we have to use. So we start with our factored form. And what you would find is that we just write this value down, our x-intercept, twice. Since there's no other one, whenever it hits the graph once on the x-axis, you just repeat what your value, your x-intercept value would be. And that could be written as x minus 2, since this is repeat multiplication. Since this is the same and you're multiplying it, you could write that as squared, and you should. Now, in order to come up with the values here, we need to insert a point that we know, and we're not going to use an x-intercept. Although it's a vertex, is also the x-intercept. So we're going to look, if we looked at our graph, we would see that we have a y-intercept here. And its value would be 0, negative 4. We're going to sub these points into our equation. So our x value is 0, our y value would be a negative 4. So our y value would be a negative 4. Our x value is 0. Zero subtract 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. And to isolate for a, we would divide both sides by 4. A equals negative 1. And we would expect a negative a value because the graph is pointing down. So in our factor form of the equation, we can say negative 1 x minus 2 squared, or you could see that written as just negative x minus 2 squared. So this is factor form. And then to go to standard form, we would multiply it first, our exponent here, so the negative value in front doesn't get touched. And if you multiply that out correctly, you have x squared minus 4x plus 4. And shortcut, we had said for this before, when you're squaring a binomial, square your first number. You just change pen color. Square your first number. Square your last number. Multiply these two terms together. So then you have negative 2x, and then you double it and you get negative 4x. Or you could multiply these out, and you'd still come up with this. So now for our standard form, multiply the negative through the bracket, so you have negative x squared. Negative times a negative is a positive. Negative times a positive is a negative. So now you have standard form. There you are.